rig, man, it's time to break free. Eyes wide open, gotta see what I see. Standing on the front lines, fighting for the truth. Lift the veil of lies, it's time to be the proof. Take a stand, don't you back down. Raise your voice, let's shake the town. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free.
Sir, please.
Jarvis Butts.
Okay, you can have a seat. Any preliminary matters before we begin testimony?
No, Judge, not for the people. I do know we have, I believe it was requested a mutual order of sequestration last time, with an exception for the officer in charge, Sergeant Shannon Jones, who's sitting in the courtroom. I would ask that that continue today and for the rest of this hearing.
Okay, you join. Okay, if there's anyone in the courtroom who may testify or is a witness on this case, and that means that also if you may testify at trial, if this is bound over to Third Circuit, you must exit the courtroom now. This is being streamed live also, so if there's anyone on YouTube who is viewing this remotely who may be a witness on this case, you must exit now and not watch the testimony that is about to occur. And of course, that's with the exception of the officer in charge. And with that, you can call your next witness.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, people call Annette Harris.
You got to the court reporter, you can state and spell your name for the record. Just watch yourself.
Annette, A-N-N-E-T-T-E. J-R-R-I-S.
Face the judge, please watch yourself. Raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Watch your step walking up the stairs here.
Speak clearly in the mic, you can pick it up and put it in your lap too if you like.
Okay, thank you.
Whenever ready, Mr. Makepeace.
Thank you. Could you state your name for the record?
Annette Harris.
And Ms. Harris, do you know someone, or did you know someone by the name of Neziah Harris?
Yes.
And who is Neziah to you?
My granddaughter.
Are you her legal guardian?
Yes, I am.
When did you become her legal guardian?
I adopted Neziah back in 2016.
And that was court work or paperwork filed and all that to legally adopt her?
Yes, it took a process.
Oh.
Yes.
And back in January of 2024, did Neziah live with you?
Yes.
I don't want to know the specific address, but what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And is that in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes, it is.
How long had Neziah been living with you at that address on Bedford?
Oh, wow. Basically, ever since I had her.
Since 2016?
Well, we moved to another house.
Okay, when did you move into the Bedford house?
Let me see. 2019, we moved in that house and then moved in the house that I am now, which is still on Bedford.
Okay. And did Neziah make those moves with you?
Yes.
And in January of 2024, at that Bedford location, who else lived there?
Just me, the kids. My other daughter lived with me at the other address. But it was just basically me and my kids and Shannon.
And who is Shannon?
My daughter,
And what's her last name?
Harris,
And she lived with you and Neziah and the other kids at the Bedford location?
at the first Bedford location.
Okay. At
Yes.
that first Bedford location, how many other kids in addition to Neziah lived there?
My other two, my grandson and my other grandchildren.
Okay. So how many kids total in that house?
Let's see. 6, should have been 6.
And you and Shannon, correct?
Well,
Living there.
Shannon, she was there, but she wasn't really like there all the time.
Okay.
She would spend more majority of her time at my house, but actually Shannon had her place out in Clinton Township.
And when you were there in January of 24, how old was Neziah at that time?
January 24th, she had 13. She had a birthday in September.
And was she going to school?
Yes, she was.
What school did she attend?
J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy.
And is that also in Detroit?
Yes, it is.
Just generally, can you tell us about your morning routine with the kids, specifically Neziah, about getting them to school and things like that?
Sure. Okay. 6 a.m. That's when I get the children up. They usually get up, get dressed, prepare themselves. About 7:15, 7:20, we're basically saying prayer and we're loading up in the car. I'm dropping them off at school at 7:30. Breakfast starts at 7:30, and they like to eat breakfast at school.
And does that include Neziah? You would drop her off at J.E. Clark?
All together, yes.
Now, I want to talk about, well, let me ask it this way. Did you know someone by the name of Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
And do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today? If you need to stand up and look around.
I don't see them.
Do you need glasses, ma'am?
Yeah, my
Okay,
daughter has my glasses.
Okay, Judge, may I take a moment to go get her glasses?
Yes.
May I approach witness, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you.
And if you could just stand up and take another look around.
Okay. Yes.
Do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you
Yes.
point to him and identify a piece of clothing that he's wearing?
Blue uniform with the blue mask.
For the record, the witness has identified Jarvis Butts, the defendant in this matter.
So reflected?
And may I approach the witness again, Judge?
Yes.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted as People's 9. And Ms. Harris, do you recognize the person in that photo?
Yes,
And who is that person?
Jarvis Butts.
And is that the same person you've identified in court here today?
Yes.
And Ms. Harris, how did you know Mr. Butts back in January of 2024?
He's the father of my daughter's children.
And is that daughter Shannon Harris?
Yes,
Okay. How many kids do they have together?
5.
And would he come around your house on Bedford in January or the months leading up to January?
Whenever he did come, he would always pull up in a white truck, and Shannon would go out to the car, and they would sit and talk or whatever, but he would very rarely come in my house.
And during that time when he would come around and sit in his car, was there any times that he would interact with Neziah that you saw?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. Now, I want to talk specifically about January 9th. You had described your morning routine with the kids. Did you follow that routine on January 9th?
Yes, I did.
And did that include dropping Neziah off at J.E. Clark 7:15 to 7:30?
Yes.
And can you tell us what she was wearing on January 9th, 2024?
Yes, she was wearing a pair of light powdered blue jeans with a light powdered blue jacket that had the black little fur around the collar. It was like a two-piece set.
And did she have a sweater on or a shirt on or something?
She had a shirt. She wore a shirt underneath it.
And you remember, did she have any other clothes with her on the 9th when you dropped her off?
She had her little blue sweatshirt with the little hoodie. She had that with her.
And do you know how or when she got that hoodie?
I bought that hoodie for her. I guess it was in the fall sometime when I bought it. When I first, I mean, it wasn't nothing new. It was just one of her old hoodie jackets she used when she go to gym.
Okay. And in terms of, if you know, the condition of that hoodie on the 9th, was it torn, ripped, damaged in any way?
No,
Okay.
it was fairly, really, like, kind of like still new, because she took pretty good care of her things.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
may I approach, Judge?
Yes.
I'm approaching with People's Proposed Exhibit 12. Ms. Harris, do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes,
And is that a picture of Neziah?
yes.
And do you know when that picture was taken?
The same day, January the 9th, she took this picture.
Oh, move to admit People's Proposed 12.
Any objection?
No objection.
It'll be admitted as People's Exhibit 12.
And when you dropped Neziah off at J.E. Clark, what was the routine supposed to be after school was over?
Okay, well, when school is over, the bell rings at 2:40. Neziah was due to come home. And normally, when the bell rings, 2:40, 2:45, she's getting on the bus.
And was that's what she normally did on other days?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry,
And
yes.
what time would she normally arrive back at home?
The Neziah would be walking in through the door maybe 3:05, no later than that.
And on January 9th, did she walk in at 3:05?
No, she did not.
And were you home when she didn't come home?
I was there for a little while, but I left out to run some errands. But no, when I got to the house, she was not there.
And at that time, did you have a conversation with someone else about her not coming home, Neziah not coming home?
Yeah, when I picked my children up from the after-school program, I went in and my daughter said,
Objection to what I've already said, from the hearsay.
Any
I'll
response?
rephrase the question.
Okay, sustain.
Just talking about what you saw and heard, and not asking for what anybody said, but did you talk to Shannon, your daughter?
yes,
about
Shannon said she was not there.
Okay. When you got home that day on the 9th, was Neziah there?
No,
And did you eventually make a police report about her missing?
yes, I did. Yes, I
And when did you do that?
That morning, when I got to school, I went up and dropped the kids off to school. I talked with the dean and the principal, and I told them that I was on my way to the police station, and they told me that they would call the police, and the DPS police came there.
And you said DPS, is that Detroit Public Schools?
Yeah,
And did you talk to an officer at that time at the school?
yes, I did.
And was that at J.E. Clark physically at that location?
Yes,
And you said that morning, are you talking about the morning of the 10th?
yes, mm-hmm.
Was Neziah active on social media, if you know?
Well, as far as I know, she was. I mean, there were times that she was sneaking, go on it, you know, but yeah, she was.
Okay, and did you keep track of her social media pages like TikTok or Facebook or anything like that?
I tried, a lot of times, you know, I would take her phone and stuff from her, you know, so, you know, to keep her from being on there, you know.
And after the 9th, did you ever see any posts made by Neziah?
I didn't see any posts. Most of the time, you know, if there was a post or something, or she posts, my daughter or someone would call me and tell me.
Oh. Have you ever heard, after the 9th, ever heard any communication or seen Neziah?
Mm-mm.
When, is that a no?
No,
And when you dropped her off on the 9th at school at J.E. Clark, was that the last time you saw her?
yes.
May I have one moment, Trish?
Yes.
Just to follow up, I did forget to ask this. Her bus stop, how far from your house was that in walking distance?
5 minutes.
And do you know where the location that she got dropped off at was, the address or the intersection?
Right there at 3 Mile Drive in Cornwall.
Oh. And that's 5 minutes from your house?
Yeah.
And did Neziah have any nicknames that people called her?
Where her family called her Tuda, but I've always called her Glamorous. I've been calling her that ever since she was born.
Is it Glamour?
Glamorous.
Oh. May I have one moment, Trish?
Yes. You said Tuda?
Tuda.
Tuda.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing further, Trish. Thank you.
Okay, Russ.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
Now, you are Neziah's maternal grandmother, right?
Correct.
You're also her adopted parent, right?
Correct.
And you said you adopted her in 2016?
Yeah. Should have been, yeah, 16.
Okay. Is her birth mother still around?
She is.
Okay. Does she have a relationship with her?
No.
She doesn't have any type of relationship, no contact with her that you know of?
Well, let me say this. I don't deal with my daughter, so she really didn't have really no contact with Neziah like that. She only came around now and then.
Okay. And you testified that you currently stay on Bedford Street?
Yes.
And in fact, I think you testified you lived on 2 houses on Bedford Street.
Correct.
And did not Neziah have friends on Bedford Street that you were aware of?
She had friends, but her friends didn't live on Bedford.
Okay. Do you know if she ever had any friends over?
No.
Did she ever spend the night at any of these friends' houses?
No.
Okay. And at your prior neighborhood, did she have friends that she may have spent the night over?
No.
Okay. You indicated that there are approximately 6 children in the house?
Well, not now. When he asked me about the address,
Yes.
I lived at 2 houses, which is on the same street of Bedford.
Okay.
Okay, so the house that we lived in before, it was my children and my daughter's children.
Your daughter being Shannon?
No, Marquita.
Marquita,
Mhm.
okay. And did Neziah have any close relationship with any of these children particularly?
She was close with my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, yeah.
Which granddaughter is that?
Neziah, I mean, Janiyah.
Okay.
All of their names are similar.
And Janiyah is Shannon's daughter?
Yes,
That would be Jarvis's daughter as well, correct?
correct.
And at your Bedford Street address, how many adults live there?
Just me and Shannon.
Okay. When did Shannon move in?
I'm sorry.
When did Shannon move in to Bedford?
Oh, I guess back in October, last October or something.
That would be October of '23?
Yeah,
Okay. So in January of '24, she was there, correct?
mm-hmm.
Sorry, is that a yes? or no?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And you indicated that Desire participated in social media?
She did participate in social media. She was on social media a lot of times when she wasn't supposed to be.
Okay. So, did you see her post, or did you follow her post?
I didn't see her really posting anything. I mean, at times when I did check, I didn't find anything.
Okay.
And most of the time, if she did post something, my daughter's name would, let me know, if she posted something. But
So you don't know who her social media friends were?
the only person that I know that was one of her classmates that she would post little things with one of her little classmates.
Okay. But it's fair to say there are some things you did not know.
Yeah, well, something, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, you indicated that you drove Desire to school every day, correct?
Correct.
Who else went to school in Desire?
My other two children, Shannon's children.
Okay. And what type of student was Desire?
Nazar was a very good student,
Okay.
very manageable, very outgoing. She got good grades. Her attendance was good. The teachers had no problem with her. They really liked Nazar. Nazar got along with just about anybody.
Okay.
She was very likable.
Did she have any disciplinary problems?
No,
Do you recall her ever getting into a fight?
she did.
One fight, more than one fight?
There was a young lady that she had couple of, consultations with in school. And it was like an ongoing situation.
Okay. And when did this first start?
I'm not quite sure when it started, but it was like off and on, with this particular schoolmate that she had.
And this is for her current school, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, did Desire participate in any extracurricular activities? Was she on band or anything?
She liked it, gym, robotics, art. I mean, she liked a lot of things that she was, involved in,
And would any of these things cause her to have stayed after school?
The only time she stayed after school was when she wanted to be enrolled in the after-school program.
Just one. I just want to step back a moment. We asked you about her social media. You said there were some things that you weren't aware of on social media, correct? Did you ever check her direct messages?
Like I said, I did, but when I did, there was nothing on there.
There was nothing?
No.
Okay. Did you monitor any of her conversations?
Yeah, I would, go check,
Okay.
But like I said, a lot of times, I took Nazia's tablet, from her, at one point, so there was really nothing that I knew of that she was on unless she got somebody's cell phone or something,
Okay. So you did mention that she had a tablet. How many devices did she have that allowed her to connect to social media?
She only had that one tablet that I had bought her.
Okay.
And like I said, I took that tablet and put that tablet up.
So on January 9th, you took her to school, correct?
Correct.
And you said it was her and two of your other children that went to the same
My
school?
2 other children and my daughter's children. I dropped them all off.
And you said that you noticed that she did not come home at her normal time.
Correct.
All right. You did not call the police then, correct?
No. Driving around looking for her. My daughter reached out to some of her classmates. I did. Nothing. And that morning, I got up, and like I said, I went straight to the school, and from there I was on my way to the police station to make the report, and they called the police from there. DPS police came to the school.
So the first report you made to the police was the next morning.
Yes.
Do you know approximately what time?
School starts at 7:30, so I got there at 7:30. They got there about, I don't know, maybe 8.
So you didn't go to the precinct, you went to the school, and the school called the police?
Yes, they called the police because I was getting ready to leave, and the dean said, no, stay here. She said, and we'll call the police.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you are familiar with Mr. Butts, correct?
I know Mr. Butts.
Okay. And he dated your daughter Shannon, correct?
Correct,
They did have 5 children, correct?
correct.
And the children, did all the children stay with you and Shannon?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I don't want to give too much detail on the kids. What were the mix of the kids, boys and girls?
Can you repeat that?
What were the mix of the kids, boys and girls?
Well, I have a boy and girl, and Shannon has her 3 boys and her 2 girls.
So she had 3 boys and the 2 girls. Okay. And at any time, now, I think you did indicate that Mr. Butts would come over and I think you said he would rarely come in, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But he would come in on occasion, correct?
Not really on occasions, because most of the time when he came in, he would pull up in my driveway, and my daughter would go out to the truck, and a lot of times the kids would go out to the truck. So it was very rare if he ever came in my house.
Okay. And you indicated that you were close with Naziah?
Yes.
Can you think of any reason that Naziah would not share information with you?
No. Naziah would come to me and talk to me all the time.
Okay.
If something was bothering her, or if she had a bad day in school, she'll come to me and we'll sit and talk about it. I always kept the door open for communication with Naziah and with really all of my children. So she always felt free, to come to me and sit down and talk to me about whatever.
So if something was frustrating Naziah, she would come with you?
She would, that I know of, yes.
All right, if something was scaring Naziah, she would come to you?
If something was bothering her or she was frustrated about something, she'll come to me and say, hey, Nana, can I talk to you?
If there was any medical condition, she would come to you regarding that?
I believe she would, yes.
And you take her to the hospital, take her to the doctor?
Yes.
Okay. Just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, I have no further questions.
Can you redirect?
Ms. Harris, I just have a couple more questions for you. When Mr. Riggins was asking you questions, you said that Mr. Butts would come and sit in his car, right, outside your house?
Yes,
And you said that the kids would go and out to the car.
yes.
Which kids would go out to the car?
His kids.
Would Neziah ever go with his kids out to the car?
If Shannon was out there, she would.
Oh. And Mr. Riggins also asked you about the tablet that you bought for Neziah. Do you
Yes.
remember those questions?
Yes.
And when, if you can remember, narrow that down, when did you buy that tablet for her?
I bought that tablet for her one Christmas. I think it was I think it was in 22 when I bought that tablet, at the end of 22 when I bought that tablet for her.
So December of '22?
Yeah, I think that when I bought that tablet.
So she would have had that tablet for roughly just over a year then, correct?
Correct.
And did Neziah also have access to a cell phone?
The only cell phone she had access to was one of the cell phones when my oldest daughter came to visit me. She gave to Neziah, but she could only use it by Wi-Fi.
You said your oldest daughter, is that Neziah's biological mother?
Yes.
Okay. And through, what's your oldest daughter's name?
Kenyatta Harris.
Through Kenyatta Harris, Neziah got access to a phone?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Mr. Riggins also asked you about Neziah staying after school. You said that there was an after-school program she was involved in?
Yes.
On January 9th and in January of '24, was she still involved in that program?
No, I took her out of it because she was having problems with one of her schoolmates at that time. The same person that he asked me about before that she didn't get along with.
The same person Mr. Riggins asked you?
Absolutely.
And so on the 9th, she was not supposed to stay after school, correct?
No, she was supposed to come straight home.
And when she didn't come home, you said that you were driving around looking for her,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what efforts you made on the 9th to locate her?
When I went to the school to go pick my son and daughter up because they were also in the after-school program, picked them up, went back to the house. I thought she was there, and when I got to the house and I found out that she wasn't there, I got back in the car and I went back up to the school. And by that time, nobody was there. Nobody was at the school. So now, I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm frustrated. Now I'm going like, you know, because whenever she wants to stay after school or do something, she would always call me. Well, hey, Nana, can I stay after school? Or she would call one of her TTs, hey, TT, can I stay after school? So that wasn't like her, so I'm really frustrated now. So now I go back to the house and I'm talking to my daughter, Shannon.
And I want to stop you right there because I don't want to go into what anybody else said.
Okay.
But you went back to the school, nobody was at the school, you went back to the house, Neziah is still not there, correct?
Correct.
Did you go back out looking for her after that?
I did.
Okay. Where did you go with her?
I was driving around in the neighborhood, everywhere. I'm just looking, just like hoping I'll see her, you know?
We have one moment, Joe? On the 9th, when you were looking for her, well, let me ask it this way. Did you know Neziah to go to Mr. Butts' place of work to assist him with anything there?
Yes, there was a couple of times that she went with his daughter and they went up there to go clean up at his shop.
And how would they get there, if you remember?
He would come and pick them up.
And was that in that white truck that you talked about earlier?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And did you yourself know where Mr. Butts worked at?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, do you know, where is that?
It was Frank's shop located on Warren, East Warren.
And is that the last place that you knew him to work? Or did you know him to work somewhere else?
I knew him to work there, and then the shop moved to a different location.
Did you know where that new location was?
Personally, no.
Okay. And did you ever, on the 9th, did you ever try and go to Mr. Butts' place of work to look for Nizaya?
On the 9th, no.
Nothing further, Judge, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Harris, we're done testifying. Watch your step when you exit the box.
Okay. All right.
Judge, first I would like to move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibits 15 and 16 pursuant to MRE 8036. They are certified records of text stale messages. Exhibit 15 is messages from September 24th, 2022 through November 7th of 2022. And Exhibit 16 is messages from March 4th, 2023 through January 9th of 2024.
Any objection?
No objection for exam purposes, pending analysis under 403, assuming that they're relevant.
Okay, it'll be a minute. That's People's Exhibit 15 and 16, you said?
Yes, Judge. And at this time, people would call Shannon Harris.
Walk up to the court, sit down, and you must stay on the stage and for the record.
For you?
Yep, right here.
First name?
Watch your step right there. Raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Watch your step, please. Have a seat.
You want to speak into this mic, you can also pick it up and hold it in your lap.
Whenever you're ready, Ms. Ripley.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record?
Shannon Harris,
And Ms. Harris, how old are you?
31.
And back on January, or in January 2024, where did you live?
But my mom resides with my mother,
With your mother? Okay, who's your mom?
Annette Harris,
And without telling me the exact address, what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And do you have any children?
Yes.
How many kids do you have?
5.
And do all your kids have the same dad?
Yes.
Who's their dad?
Jarvis Butts.
And do you see Jarvis Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
Green, blue, whatever. Green.
Green. Your Honor, would the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant in this case?
So reflected.
Thank you, Judge. And you said your mom's name is Annette. Do you have any sisters?
Yes, 2.
What are their names?
Kenyatta Harris and Marquita Harris.
Are they older, younger, something else?
Oh, there. Marquita is a twin. She's my twin, same age.
Okay. And Kenyatta's older?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any nieces or nephews?
Yes.
Do you know someone named Nizaya Harris?
Yes.
What's your relationship to her?
My relationship to her, she is my niece. I'm her aunt.
Okay. And whose daughter is she?
My older sister is Kenyatta Harris.
And did you have any nicknames for Neziah?
Yes, we all called her Tudda.
And is that Tudda?
Yes.
And did Neziah ever know Jarvis through you?
Yes.
Okay. And when did Neziah and Jarvis first meet?
She was little, like age 2.
And can you kind of describe the relationship between Neziah and Jarvis?
Should be just the uncle and the niece relationship, no more than that.
How often would Jarvis be around, like at your house with you?
He will call or say, can he come see the kids, or the kids will ask, can he see their dad? And he will come, pull up either to my house where I used to live or at my mother's house.
Would Neziah ever be around?
All the kids would be around.
To your knowledge, would Neziah ever text Jarvis?
From my knowledge, no, unless I will have her to text.
But to your knowledge, you didn't know of any kind of separate outside relationship?
No.
Would there ever be times where, where did you know Jarvis Butts to work?
Pardon?
Where did you know Jarvis Butts to work?
Where did I know him to work at?
Yes.
He worked at 2 different locations. The first location would be on East Warren, and the other location would be on Gratiot and Connor.
And what were those locations?
Those are the auto repair shop.
Okay. Would you ever know Neziah to help Jarvis Butts at his shop?
Yes, he will call me and say, hey, if I can get our daughter and Neziah to come and work up at the shop. And I would say, let me ask my mom first regarding Neziah.
And which daughter of yours would that be?
That would be my oldest, Janiyah.
Okay. Would you ever know Neziah to go to Jarvis's shop alone?
No.
Whose birthday is on or around September 26th?
That's my oldest, my 4th oldest birthday.
Okay. Do you recall a birthday party on September 26th of 2022?
Yes.
Okay. And was Jarvis there?
No.
Okay. And that would have been his son's birthday party?
Yes.
Were there ever times that you would text Jarvis off of a text now number?
The only time I would text Jarvis off a text now number is if my phone is off. Other than that, no.
And do you recall the numbers that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
Okay. And does a 586-510-5161 sound familiar?
Yes.
And what number is that?
That used to be my old number.
And is that number that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
Okay. And what about a 586-842-4504?
That was the number before this number.
Before the 510 number?
Correct.
Okay. And is that a number you would also text Jarvis from?
Correct.
And what number did you have for Jarvis Butts?
The 313-585-8719.
And did you have any numbers for Neziah?
It was a funny looking area code. The area code was a 231.
Okay. I want to show you some messages from People's Exhibit 16. and ask you some questions about them, okay?
Okay.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm going to direct you to messages on or about June 27th of 2023. Do you recall those messages? Did you send any of those messages to Jarvis Butts?
No.
Okay. And do you know, I believe there's a phone number here that's highlighted. Whose phone number do you know that to be?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay, and you don't recall ever sending any of those messages?
No.
Okay. And now I want to direct you to messages from June 28th of 2023. How about any of these? Did you send any of these to Jarvis Butts?
No.
What about any messages from July 2nd of 2023? Did you send any of those messages?
No.
What about messages from August 26th of 2023? Did you send any of those to Jarvis Butts?
I'm sorry, was the 26?
August 26th.
No. These aren't my messages.
Did Jarvis Butts ever tell you that Nasiah texted him to meet up on January 9th of 2024?
No.
Did you tell Jarvis Butts about not being able to locate Nasiah on January 9th of 2024?
Yes.
And tell me, how did you tell him that?
I called him. He didn't answer. I sent him a message asking him, have he seen Tuda, any whereabouts? And I said no Tuda, and he responded back, oh wow.
I didn't hear what you said, the last part.
Last part I had, I texted him. Well, at first I called him. He didn't answer. The second time I sent him a message, still no Tuda. He replied back, oh wow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
And just for record references, I'm showing her what's going to be proposed, People's Exhibit 48. Ms. Harris, those text messages that you just referenced, do you see those on this page?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's fair to say you stated to Mr. Butts, well, first of all, whose phone number is this at the top?
The phone number is my old telephone number.
Okay, and who is the phone number below that?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay. And is this, I guess, do these fairly and accurately represent these two messages? 3, 4, 5, 6 messages sent between you and Mr. Butts on January 9th, 2024 through January 11th, 2024.
The first page is, yes, it's correct. Second page is correct. Yes,
Okay. And so on January 9th, like you had indicated before, you had stated that you told him that there was still no Tutta.
correct,
Okay. And you said he responded, oh, wow.
correct.
Okay. And on January 11th, was Neziah still missing?
Yes,
Okay. And did you ask Mr. Butts to do something?
At this point, I just asked that if she's going to read from the text message, just omit the exhibit.
I
You have an
can.
issue with moving to admit?
No, Judge.
Okay.
Do these fairly and accurately represent text messages between you and your phone to Jarvis and his phone between, well, they start back earlier, some from December 3rd, 2023 through January 21st of 2024? These fairly and accurately represent text messages between
Yes.
you and your phone to Mr. Butts and his phone?
yes,
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 48.
No objection.
Okay, they'll be admitted.
Thank you, Judge. So on January 11th, did you ask Mr. Butts to do something?
yes.
And what is it that you asked him to do?
I asked him, can he share the missing flyer on his Facebook page?
Okay. And did you send him a copy of that missing flyer?
Yes,
Okay. And to backtrack just a little bit, on December 3rd, 2023, do you recall sending messages asking Mr. Butts if he needed Neziah for anything?
yes, I do remember.
Okay. So do you remember this text on the first page of People's Exhibit 48?
Yes, I do remember this message.
Okay. And did you send that message?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the message say?
Tutta said, do you still need her to?
Okay. And do you know what is that referring to?
It was, Tutta had asked me to contact Jarvis and see if he still needed them to clean up.
Okay. And that would be to clean up his shop?
Yes,
Okay. And to fast forward, on January 21st, of 2024, you sent some messages to Mr. Butts. Is that fair to say?
yes.
Okay. And can you read these last 3 messages?
These last 3 messages is, to be honest, these messages I seen into the inbox to you, I really don't know what to believe anymore. Stay away, Ramon, I mean it. The next message is, I don't know what to say, or Tutta is on. Says, this shit doesn't sit right with me. Call it what you want, I'm good, period. It says, this for life. Nigga, I thought about it, and you can pass it.
And, sorry,
And don't call me, no need to explain shit. I already see it.
okay. So you were referencing some messages that you saw in Tutta's inbox.
Correct.
Tell me, how did you see some messages? Well, first of all, where were these messages, where were they at?
The day of, Officer Gardner came to pick up Neziah's tablet. My mom asked me to put it on the charger. I put it on the charger. Officer Gardner, after that, Officer Gardner called and said she's on her way.
This is hearsay.
Without saying what?
Okay, I'm sorry. The officer had had called and said that they was on their way to come
Still
pick up
hearsay?
the tablet.
Okay,
Okay, so,
sustained as far as hearsay.
yes, thank you, Judge. Okay, continue.
So the tablet, before the tablet was picked up, I looked inside to this tablet. She has 2 passwords that I normally know. So one of them is referenced for her brother's birthday, and the other one is referenced from my password. So I put the first password in, it didn't work. So I put the second password in. So the first thing I went to was Instagram, which I was scrolling. And I seen Jarvis Butts' Instagram page. I clicked on his page, and I seen 2 messages.
Okay, and what were the messages that you saw? Who were they between, first of all?
Naziah, my niece, and Jarvis.
Okay, and what were the messages that you seen?
It was roughly 2 messages that I have seen that I can recall. States,
I'm gonna object to this as hearsay. They have not been admitted, and the messages themselves would be the evidence.
Were they of any, were the messages of a sexual nature?
no,
Okay, and you said you saw 2 messages.
yes.
Okay, did you see anything else?
It was two sent pictures, but you can't really make anything out. It wasn't nothing there, but you know, it was a picture was sent.
Okay. What did seeing those messages, what did they cause you to do?
Well, when I seen no messages, I called him,
Who's
and
that?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay,
Called him while he was at work, asked him, what is these messages I seen between you and my niece? And he said, what messages? Said it's 2 particular messages that states out and it's a picture. And he stated that, I don't know, on these messages, I told him what the messages were, and he said it was probably our children was messaging him. And I stated no, because I know how our children will text.
okay. And reading those messages, is that what caused you to text
Mr. Butts, yes.
Mr. Butts, in that you've seen the messages in the inbox and you don't really know what to believe anymore?
Correct.
Okay. One second, Rich. So, Shannon, I want to take you back to January 9th. Were you home that day?
Yes.
Okay. And did you see Naziah that day?
My senior did that morning, correct.
Okay. And do you remember what she was wearing at all?
Her coat and her uniform at the time, she had on some blue jeans. I don't really recall the outfit. I just know the coat she had on.
And what was the coat that she had on?
She had on, it was a 90s coat with all the characters on it.
Okay. And you recall seeing her wearing that the morning of January 9th?
Correct.
And Your Honor, may I approach people's already admitted exhibit 2?
Yes.
I'm going to show you people's exhibit 2. Can you tell me, do you recognize a coat in this photo?
Yes.
And whose coat do you recognize that to be?
Naziah's.
Okay. Now, after you, when you saw Naziah that morning, what did you do the rest of the morning?
Nothing, I was at home with my mom and my 2 children.
And do you ever leave the house at any point that day?
No, I was at the house the whole entire day.
Okay. And do you know what time Naziah would normally get home from school?
On certain days, she will stay for after school, and then on certain days she will come home. The days she will stay for after school is 6, and the days that she don't, it's at 3 o'clock.
Okay. And on January 9th, do you know if Naziah had the after-school program?
Yes. At that time, my mom took her out of the after-school program, so she will come home directly at 3 o'clock.
Okay. And were you home at 3 o'clock?
Yes.
And did you see Neziah come home?
No.
Okay. And did you see her come home at all the rest of the night?
No.
Okay. Did you leave at any point after 3 o'clock?
No.
Okay. Did you, yes, when Neziah didn't come home, did that cause you to experience or feel any type of way?
It did. When she didn't come home is when my mom went to go pick up the other 2 children from the after-school program. They knocked on the door and they had asked a question and said,
Objection, sounds like hearsay.
1 second. You have a response or?
A question isn't hearsay technically.
I think she said.
It's just a question.
I think
Yes.
she was getting ready to say a question. Okay,
What was
finish
the
what you're
question?
saying.
What was the question? that was asked?
the 2 children had asked me, Mom said,
That's the hearsay.
did
Mom-
Neziah come home?
The hearsay is mom said.
Okay, so were you asked directly whether Neziah came home?
So my mom was still in the car, I was inside the house. They was coming to the house, walking up to the door. When I opened the door, they asked me, Mom said, did Neziah come home? I said, no.
Okay. And was Neziah home at all?
No.
Okay. And did you do any sort of looking for Neziah that night?
Yes.
What did you do?
I called my twin sister. I called some of her friends that I know that stays close by. If they had seen Neziah, heard from Neziah and everything. And when I reached out to my sister, she said no. Her friend said no. So after that, I asked my mom, did she want me to call police? She said no, she will take it up in the morning.
Okay. Just one second. Shannon, did you know Neziah to have a pair of red and black Nike shoes?
Yes.
Okay. And if I showed you a picture of them, would you be able to identify them?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
And for the record, this is going to be from People's Proposed Exhibit 14, and it'll be picture 34. Do you recognize these shoes?
Yes, that's a pair of shoes that my mom bought for to the birthday.
Okay, thank you. Now, back on the 9th, you said your mom was going to file a police report in the morning.
Correct.
Okay, did you go with her to file a police report in the morning?
No, it was my older sister.
Okay. Did you do anything on the 10th as it relates to trying to find Neziah?
Yes, we went out, I and some others went out to go get some pictures, made copies. We went to other stores, passed out flyers, and everything that we need to do. Now, what was asked of us to do.
Okay. Since January 9th, 2024, have you seen Neziah?
No,
Have you, since January 9th, 2024, have you heard from Neziah?
no.
Nothing further at this time, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Sayers, I also have some questions for you. you and Mr. Butts have been, or you've known him for about 12 years?
Correct.
And fair to say that you were in a dating relationship with him for most of that time?
Correct.
But towards the end, like last year, it was more off and on, fair to say?
No, it was on and off for years.
For years, okay. But you have 5 children with him?
Correct.
And this relationship that you had with him, even towards the end when it was on, it was a sexual relationship, right?
Correct.
Sometimes you go to a motel to have sex with him,
Correct. When, yes.
and that motel was the Park Reston.
Or the SharePoint.
There was more than one.
Multiples, yes.
Okay. But one of them was the Park Rest. Said yes.
Correct.
And it said in Harper Woods
Correct.
on Harper.
Correct.
Okay. Do you know if Mr. Butts, or do you suspect that Mr. Butts has taken other women to those motels also?
Correct.
You do.
Mm.
I believe you said that you have, of your 5 children with him, 2 are girls
Yes.
and 3 are boys.
Correct.
And in January of this time, well, January 2023, you were living with your mother on Bedford, correct?
Correct.
Prior to that, were you living in Clinton Township?
Correct.
When did you leave the Clinton Township home and move to the Bedford home?
October 23.
And so there were times when you were in Clinton Township that Mr. Butts would travel out there to see the kids,
Correct.
and then when you moved to the Bedford address, he would go to the Bedford address to see the kids.
Correct.
And then the Bedford address is when Neziah was also living there, correct?
Correct.
And I believe you just testified that on January the 9th, you were living at that house? in
Correct.
Bedford, and you were there during the day?
Correct.
And so were you one of the first people that realized that Neziah did not come home when she was expected to be home?
Well, I didn't realize it until I had got a question. By the other kids had asked, did I have Neziah came home yet, or have I seen her? And I said no.
Do you remember what time that was in the afternoon?
That was in the evening. My mom picked them up 6 o'clock.
So that was about 3 hours later than she normally should have been home?
Correct.
Was that surprising?
Yes, it was. One, we thought that she was at the after-school program, but it didn't dawn on no one until my mom came back to the house, and she wasn't here, or she wasn't in the car when they had got in the car.
And so when you all realized that she wasn't at school and she wasn't at home, was that surprising?
Yes.
But you didn't go to the police that night.
No.
Did she ever not return home previously?
No, this is her first time ever doing this.
Did she have friends in the neighborhood that she would go visit?
Yes.
And you said, are those the folks that you contacted to ask?
Yes.
You were just shown a pair of red and black Nike shoes, right?
Correct.
And you identified those shoes as being Neziah's shoe. Is that correct?
Correct.
It's a shoe that looks like the shoe that Neziah is wearing, correct?
Correct. Correct.
You can't say for sure that that
Yes,
exact
her-
shoe came from Neziah, is that fair to say?
Correct.
And I think you testified that very rarely would you ever use text now to contact Mr. Butts.
Right.
Only if your phone was turned off,
Right.
and that was not very often.
Right.
Would Neziah ever have access to your phone to use it?
Yes, like she would ask, hey, TT, can I see your phone? Sure, I wouldn't mind, yes.
And so would she text from that phone?
Probably, yes.
Did you ever notice any text from
No,
her on your phone?
no.
Did you ever notice if she had used your Text Now app?
No, the only time when, I would notice something is say if me and Jarvis would, we won't be on the same page seeing eye to eye, and I will call him, and he say, why you will call me, or like, why you continue to keep calling me, and I would say, I haven't called you all day, or in 2 days, then I will go ask my kids, like, hey, are y'all calling your dad, because I haven't called him.
Okay. And until you looked in Nazia's Instagram account, did you ever notice anything on your phone that caused you to be concerned?
No,
Between Nazia and Mr. Butts?
no,
And Mr. Butts, we said would come to the house to see his kids.
correct.
He would drop them off at the house sometimes. He would take them places.
Yes,
He would pick Janiyah up from there.
like he, depending on like if he will pick up the kids, if I need him to pick up the kids from the pickup or drop off spot, for school, he will do that, yeah.
And then take them either to Clinton Township when you lived there, or to the Bedford Street address?
Correct.
Okay. But most times he wouldn't even come to the house, right?
He will come to the house, he will call me first before he will come.
Would he come into the house physically, or would he sit in his truck outside?
50%. He will sit in the car and wait till the kids come outside, or he will knock on the door.
Okay. Would he be in the house for any length of time?
Only if I'm inside the house,
Like if he was visiting with you?
yes.
Okay. So you never knew a time that Mr. Butts would have been alone in the house with Nazia?
No,
You can't think of a time when he had been in the house and had gone down to the basement with her?
no,
Or any other room in the house alone?
no.
Would Mr. Butts have ever been at that house if another adult, like you or your mother, weren't there?
He will, what you said,
Would Mr. Butts ever be at the house if you or your mother weren't there?
no, it will be me or another person.
The idea that anything was going on between Mr. Butts and Nazia is shocking to you, right?
Correct.
You had no idea.
No,
You never noticed anything between Nazia and Mr. Butts that made you concerned?
no,
You never saw any inappropriate behavior?
not at all.
You didn't notice Mr. Butts paying any special attention to her?
No.
Certainly, if you had noticed that, that would have caused you concern.
Yeah, it would have raised a whole bunch of red flags.
Likely, you wouldn't have invited him into the house, correct?
Correct.
You found it hard to believe even that Mr. Butts would hurt Nazia.
But I won't know, I don't know, what he will do if a person's back is up against the wall.
But the thought of that was hard for you, at least at one point, to
Yeah.
believe, correct?
Correct.
Now, during the time that you and Mr. Butts were together, he's had children with other women,
Correct.
pretty consistently with other women,
Correct.
more than one woman.
Correct.
Some of those women you actually knew about, correct?
Correct.
They lived kind of even in the same neighborhood on the east side.
Correct.
But you suspect that there were women that you didn't know about?
Correct.
Even one that lived, or more than one that lived over on the west side?
Correct.
You believe he was going out there to see somebody around the end of 2023, January 2024?
Correct.
Before January the 9th, you had a conversation with Nazia about a location on Outer Drive in Belfour,
Yes.
and that was surprising to you, right?
Correct.
That's on the east side of Detroit.
Yes.
Did you end up giving her directions on how to get to that location?
Yes.
Why did you give her directions?
I was just getting out the shower and just getting myself together. she asked me, she said, "Hey, Titi," she said, "where is Balfour and Honor Drive?" And I told her, I said, "You know exactly where Balfour and Honor Drive at." I said, "Honor Drive is right where the wine basket at." And I said, "You know where Balfour at?" And she was like, "I get Balfour and Bedford mixed up." So I said, "You already know Balfour is before Bedford." So she said, "Okay." She said, "Because we are in school and we are learning about our surroundings." So I said, "Okay." But that was the only two things that she had asked, was where was Outer Drive and Balfour at.
Does that location have any special significance to you?
No.
Do you know anybody at that location?
No, the only thing that I'm used to, I'm familiarized with just picking up Jarvis on Outer Drive and Balfour. It's just on a corner.
On a corner?
Mm-hmm.
Not at an address?
Not on the dress.
Okay. When was this conversation that you had about that location? Do you recall?
This was right before Naziah went missing.
Like, how soon before? Weeks?
Maybe in it was still like in that same week she went missing.
Mr. Butts didn't have his own vehicle, fair to say?
No, he didn't.
He generally used,
His female's vehicles.
did you know Mr. Butts to park at one location and maybe walk to another to kind of try to remain undetected?
Pretty much, yes.
So would it be not out of the ordinary for you to have to pick him up at a random, or what seemed to be a random location to you?
Correct.
You lived with Naziah for, you said, from about October until January the 9th.
Correct.
So you spent a lot of time around her?
Yes.
You knew her mannerisms,
Yes.
her demeanor,
Yes.
her moods.
Yes.
Did anything strike you as out of the ordinary about how she was acting at any point in time in December or January before she disappeared?
No, Naziah, nothing have changed her character, none of that. She was just the same old Naziah. Nothing was different.
Naziah has a brother, right?
Yes.
Is it an older brother?
Yes.
Now, he had run away in 2023, is that right?
Yes.
Objection relevance.
How was it relevant?
If it's something that had bothered her or something that she was dealing with at the time, could cause a change in her demeanor.
Okay. Overruled.
So she did have a brother that ran away,
Correct.
and was that something that she struggled with?
She didn't like the fact that her brother was running away. Yes, she didn't like it.
Around the same time, around the time December, January, was her mother supposed to come visit, her biological mother?
Yes.
Did she end up coming to see Naziah?
Yes.
She did. Did Naziah seem to have some big emotions about that contact?
Yes.
It was complicated, fair to say?
Yes.
Did she talk to you about that?
All the time.
Did you notice anything? You said you didn't notice anything in a change in mood. So
No.
what about physically?
No.
I don't have anything else, thank you.
Can you redirect?
Yes. Did you go to the Park Crest Inn on January 9th, 2024, Mr.
No.
Butts?
No.
And fair to say, you knew of Mr. Butts having other female friends?
Yes.
Okay. And even some that you didn't know about?
Correct.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that you don't always know, or you didn't always know what Mr. Butts was doing?
No.
Okay. You couldn't account for his whereabouts every minute of the day?
No.
did you know him to, one of those cars that he would use, did you know him to have a white Escalade type truck?
Correct, yes.
And you were asking questions about Outer Drive and Balfour. Fair to say, from what I gathered, the only connection you have to that area is Jarvis Butts.
Correct,
Okay, so he's the only one you would associate with that area.
correct.
And you knew Mr. Butts to have other children?
Correct,
Okay, and you knew him to have clearly have gotten other women pregnant?
correct.
And to your knowledge, were all those women adults?
To my knowledge, yes.
Did he, to you, ever hide getting another woman pregnant?
No.
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, if you are done testifying, please watch your step. Excellent.
The system's rigged, man, it's time to break free. Eyes wide open, gotta see what I see. Standing on the front lines, fighting for the truth. Lift the veil of lies, it's time to be the proof. Take a stand, don't you back down. Raise your voice, let's shake the town. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. Marching with a purpose, we're taking it higher. Fighting through the struggle, igniting the fire. No more silence, we'll make the noise loud. Together in this battle, standing strong and proud. Injustice fades when courage aligns. Rise up together, break the confines. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. So rise up now, it's our time to shine. Together we'll write a new paradigm. You paradigm, you paradigm. Whoa, whoa. We're the voices that